I've recently come back to podcasting after a 4 or 5 year break, and I must say some of the tools available to us now as podcasters make it a lot easier to produce really high quality content and get it out there. Previously, when I was podcasting, I had an editor, I had a producer, I had an assistant to be able to publish everything for me. We were spending between $100 and $200 an episode to get out a relatively decent level of quality podcasts. And that wasn't even with video. Since coming back, I wanted to keep things simple. So I looked at the different tools that we had available to us as podcasters. And in this video, I'm going to run you through my workflow. We're now in the dashboard of SquadCast. And what that allows us to do is it allows us to get on with co-hosts or with guests. And SquadCast will record local audio at a really high quality, as well as having cloud backup of the combined recording. And then what happens at the end of the session is that you can take the audio and the video recorded locally and you can pop it into your preferred editing program. In this instance, that is Descript. So we are in the back end here. I'm just going to go into our first episode and we're going to drop that into Descript, and I'm going to show you how I process this. So it's as easy as coming in and you select the different audio files here. And all you need to do is hit edit in Descript. What that's going to do, we just do both audio and video. That will start the export process. It's going to open a window. You basically choose the files, you choose your project, where you want it to be hosted, and then you go ahead and do that and you create it. And what that will do is that will create a new project inside the script, and it will transcribe those particular files. So it generally takes about 4 or 5 minutes. What I have done here is that I have generated it just to make things a little faster for us. But as a rule, that's all you have to do. You just click import, and then it will bring in the files, it will transcribe everything, and yeah, it will produce what you want here. Now, the benefit of having the transcription, if you're not familiar with text editing, is that you are basically editing the text, and that's automatically deleting video and updating it. Now, what I love about the script is some of the AI features and tools that it has to remove a bunch of stuff. Now, the first thing that I will do is I'm going to rename these files just so we have good names for the transcripts, which is okay. So that you can see has helped there. Now, you're going to see I say and quite a lot. So there is a lot of these little bits and pieces which we want to remove because they can get a little bit annoying, particularly if you're listening to somebody. So the first thing I do here, I'm using this Underlord, which is the Descript's AI editor. I will go to remove filler words. And you'll see here, depending on the level of your subscription, you'll have access to and or a bunch of other things. Now we use, I think it's Pro, which is $30 a month and well worth it. And that allows us to remove all of these particular words. I just generally just do exactly that. So I'll just come in here, I'll select them all, I'll delete them all, remove them. And then Descript is just going to go through and delete all of these particular, there we go. You can see where it's pieced together, bits and pieces. But it's generally pretty good. Yeah. Now, we caught up in person at Live Adelaide. The next thing that I will do is I'm going to edit for clarity. This is a new feature in Descript, and what it is doing is it's taking the transcript, it's giving it to AI, who is then going to remove bits and pieces that it doesn't deem as necessary, just almost filler as well. So if I just go ahead and edit that for clarity, that'll take 30 seconds, less than a minute as a rule. So it will give you an idea of what it's doing. I find just applying the edit to the script is the way to go because you can always undo edits in the script. So there you go. You'll see what it's done here. It's removed double mentions of particular things or bits that is filler. It doesn't add to it. As a rule, I'm just accepting the edits and that's kind of it. But in this case, I'll show you what I do as I go through the particular scripts. That's that. The next thing that I will do is I want to shorten any word gaps. Generally, I'm aiming at 1.2 seconds and I'm shortening to 0.4 seconds. So I just shorten all of those and it will really tighten things up, which is awesome. So the next thing we're going to do here is, at the moment, we've got Luke here, my co-host, speaking for the entire thing. Because we've recorded a video on both sides, we can use the Underlord again to automatically multicam it. And what that will do is, based on who the active speaker is, it's going to create a scene and automatically switch cameras. So if I go ahead and do that, you can see it's creating all these particular scenes. Now I'm just editing this in the browser. Descript does have a desktop app as well, which is really good. So I generally will use the desktop app, but I'm just doing it in the browser so you can see how, just to keep things simple. But it just has some trouble with loading some items. But usually you would see the image of the person in the video if you're using the app. But now that I have done that and created different scenes, I'll just quickly show you how that looks. They've done pretty well over the last couple of weeks.
Yeah, it's great to see them return to form, particularly Leash.
You see it swaps in and around.
Trajectory.
Caught up, which is great. One thing that I have found doing an interview or a chat over the internet is that, almost like a CB radio, it's very easy to acknowledge the previous speaker's sentence or statement before proceeding with your own thoughts. And that is stuff that wouldn't generally happen in a conversation in person. And so I've found this is probably the most labor intensive part for me, but I go through and I take advantage of these scene swaps. So this little forward slash is the scene swap. And what that allows us to do is that anything where we're acknowledging the previous statement before proceeding, I delete. So we've got Luca here saying, yeah, I would go through and I'll delete that out. And then now that's not required, so I'll delete that out as well. That's already done there. Yep, absolutely. Do not need that. Same thing. So I'm just going through here, and at the same time, I'm checking on the clarity edits to see if it makes sense. It's only very brief. So if this one here, for example, is one I probably would want to include because it does add a little bit of extra context to the conversation. And even though it might be repeating itself, it is something that we want. So I just go through and highlight the text, and then I will remove the strike through, and that puts it straight back into the edits. Okay, so we just keep going down through here. Oops, that's deleted a scene. These little slashes represent a scene change, so I want to keep those in there. I just go here and make sure it stays. It does. Excellent. Oh, incredible. So we don't need this stuff at all. So I'm just going through and just giving it a quick sort of slash edit, not really reading, but just glancing, really. We can see here we've had a little bit of a mistake. That was relatively easy to see. So we can just come through and delete all of that. Here,
Yeah, June's a wonderful golf course, particularly public access golf course.
So we don't even need that either, do we? Because that is cutting off that last conversation.
Beat me up badly last year, back in September on a boys.
Great little club to be a member of.
Yeah, June's a wonderful golf.
See, it looks a lot better. So if I just can get rid of, yeah. Oops. A little bit fiddly, but it's not too bad. We are now at 12 minutes and we've done the first sort of 10 minutes of the particular transcript here. We've split it all up. So we've removed the word gaps. We've edited for clarity. I'm going to use studio sounds. Now what this will do, it improves the sound quality across, it levels everything so it all sounds very similar. If you've got any echo or anything in the background, it will do its best, the AI, to generate and improve that quality. So the good thing about the studio sound is it's a very fast and easy way to get a really high quality level of sound. Okay, Studio Sound has taken a couple of minutes to do its processing. We are now ready to publish. So once we are ready, we can just start with our video. We're going to publish this to YouTube. So I'll just hit publish here. Choose YouTube. Generally at this stage, I'm not ready to change the description and title it. So I just ignore that for the moment. I make sure I remove the tag, set it to the category I want, and set the access to private. It's going to log into YouTube each particular time, certainly on the web version. On the desktop version, I think it remains logged in. So it's a bit faster even, so it's got to publish that now again. Okay. There we go. So I'm choosing the account I want and the show, the row I want it published. And I'm just going to hit publish. Now what's going to happen here, Descript has to create its own version and process its own version in the cloud. So it'll take 5 or 10 minutes. But while we do that, we're going to also get the audio version published as well. So we use Captivate for our podcast hosting, and I'm going to run you through why in a second, but let's publish it to Captivate now. So we just choose Captivate from our downloads and hit publish. It's going to open a new browser window and it's going to start importing that particular file. In Captivate, you choose your show and you import it, and that will download it and add it to Captivate. Now, while it's doing all of this for the video and the audio, what we're going to do is we're going to generate a title. Now, we're going to use AI for that, and Underlord has a feature for this. So you choose Underlord, and we just scroll down here. You'll see from publishing a few different options here. I have found that either YouTube description or show notes seems to be the best. So I'm just going to go with show notes here. I'm not going to give it any instructions at all. You can customize it how you like, but I'll just go ahead and process this straight away. It's going to give us a title, a proposed title, and a little bit of a description and some timestamps, which is brilliant. So I'm going to take the title here. I'm going to jump into Captivate. I'm going to change the title. I do have a template here for Captivate for show notes. So I'm going to use that. I'm going to grab the description, bang that here. Going to replace the little placeholder here for description. And timestamps. So I'm going to do the same thing. Grab the timestamps from the video. I'm going to post that over here. Okay, so that's it. Now I'm just going to go through here. What I would generally do, I'd create chapters. Captivate doesn't automatically create chapters, but you may as well use them. So you just grab these timestamps here. And in the chapter section, we'd add the time, the title, and you just go through there and continue adding chapters. Now, the advantage of that is that people can skip it quite easily if they don't want to listen to the entire episode. So I've found that quite handy. Use chapters here. The other thing that I generally do is that when it's uploaded to YouTube, I will grab and add the video, and I'm going to show you how that affects it once we publish. The next thing that we would do is publish the episode. Now, I don't need to do that because this is just an example, so I'm going to ignore this. And I'm going to show you a couple of things with Captivate, which are great. Okay, so the great thing with Captivate is you upload to this one spot and it will distribute it everywhere. So in terms of distribution, it goes to Apple Podcasts, to Spotify, to Amazon. It pretty much goes everywhere that you would think anywhere you can listen to a podcast, this particular platform distributes it. The other great thing is you can add in calls to actions, you can add in ads, pre-roll, mid-roll, and replace in bulk, which is brilliant. So if you don't have your own website, you can host your podcast with the website as well. This is all hosted by Captivate. Captivate is $20 a month, which is, to me, pretty good value for everything that it does. You can add pages and whatnot, but this is just a very brief example. Okay, so this is the latest episode. You can see where I shared that URL that it would host the video and everything else. The other thing that you can do is embed it into your own website, which is what I do. And this just gives me a little bit more control over the website and all the content and how it's structured. But effectively, it's the exact same thing. So I've got a list of episodes with the podcast player. You can then go into the particular episode and see more details. So you'll get all the show notes, all the links to your different social profiles, clickable timestamps, which would change the podcast player. And there's a transcript there as well. The other thing you can see is the video. So that's really cool. If I jump across to YouTube, and I'm just going to check and do a refresh here to see if the video is uploaded. Yep, so you can see it has started processing. So generally what I'll do, I'll jump into Captivate. This isn't the episode we just did then, but I'm going to use it as an example. So from Captivate to YouTube, I'm just grabbing all the episode details, description, just copy all of that and paste it in here. Okay, and then I just tidy it up to be formatted the way I like it. Now, the other thing I need to do is do a thumbnail. For that, I use Canva. I find it really fast to do that in Canva. There are so many templates that you can use if you're not familiar with it. A couple of things I really love about Canva that are probably worth showing you is the ability to store all your brands, have brand kits. Now, again, we pay $20 a month for Canva, but I think it's worth it. You can store your brand colors. You can store your brand logo. All the fonts or anything like that can be stored into one place. And the really good thing I've found about Canva is that using the thumbnails or using all the templates and how easy it is to do certain things. So if I want a YouTube thumbnail, that's what I can just search for. And it's going to give me a whole bunch of templates to start with. So you can just start with that and modify it. What I'm going to show you though is a couple other features which I use in Canva quite a lot for this particular reason. We'll see here, I would like to add an image of somebody. I'm just going to grab something. In this example, low quality, let's do Tom. I'm just going to search for Tom, see who comes up for Tom. Okay, let's use this one. It's going to save this image as, okay, jump into Canva. Let's pop that in here. All right, so here's a good example. You can see this is really low quality. And it's got a background. So a couple of great things that I use Canva for. The first thing I will show, I'm going to delete that for a second. I'm going to use this app, this image enhancer app. Where's my little file here? So what the enhancer will do, it's AI and it's going to upscale everything so that it's less fuzzy and whatnot. So it's just a nice little useful thing to make your thumbnails, improve your thumbnails a bit if you don't have access to a high quality photo. It's not 100% perfect, but you can see once you start increasing the size, the quality is a lot better. So that's the first thing I love about Canva, just that little easy ability to upscale images. The second thing I love is, which I use quite a lot, is the background remover. So you just edit the photo, you remove the backgrounds. And inside a very short amount of time, you've got access to a pretty good photo with a background removed from it. Yeah, that's just a couple of things that I use in Canva quite a lot for these type of thumbnails or whatever. But yeah, from here, download that, and upload it to YouTube and set that live. And that's it. So you can see you've got all automatic chapters created from the timestamps. And then the rest of the description is added there. So that's just a quick overview of how we produce and publish podcasts. This video, unedited. Now, your version will be certainly a lot more edited than mine. We're at 31 minutes. I didn't complete the removal of the beginning of sentences. As I said, that would take another 5, 10, 15 minutes, depending on the length, but that's pretty much it. There's not a lot that needs to be done. The video version is not perfect. Like, let's be honest, if you had an editor that could spend hours on that, we could improve this greatly. But the fact that we don't have that time or resource to allocate to something like this at the early stages, I think this is good enough. The audio sounds pretty good regardless. So if you're just listening to the podcast feed, it sounds really good with all the cuts and edits made. The video jumps around ever so slightly in between the ums and the ahs. So it's not perfect to watch. But for a podcast, which is primarily going to be listened to rather than watched, it's good enough. I hope you've enjoyed that. I've put the links to everything we've used below. If you've got any questions, comment on the video and I'll help out however possible. Thanks a lot.